welcome back to another speed build video. My name's Jess and today I'm building in Willow Creek on a 20 by 15 lot, and today's build is just a tier 2 tiny home that is supposed to fit in really nicely with Willow Creek, kind of take the style from all around it and mirror it just with like a little extra flair. This is supposed to be like a shotgun style house, and if you aren't familiar with that house, it's kind of what is actually in this neighborhood to begin with. It's a really long house that is pretty basic, doesn't have like any, usually doesn't have a ton of punch outs. And so I wanted to go with that, but I really don't love the look of just a basic shotgun. So I wanted to make it 2 stories, which with it being a tiny home, I of course needed to make it a loft to make it all work out. Now, one thing you might be saying, if you watched my video on Wednesday or the video previous to this one, you might notice that these houses look pretty similar. So these houses are definitely sisters, and that is because this was actually my original build for that video. And when I went to edit it, I had super horrible audio issues. It was completely unusable. I unfortunately had like 2 different feeds for my mic recording, so it just sounds like I have an echo the entire time. It's really bizarre. So that wasn't very exciting to discover. And so when I went to rebuild it, I decided I didn't want to do this house just because for my save file, I didn't think it ended up being exactly what I wanted. So I went with something a little bit different, doing a yellow house and more of an artistic vibe, whereas this one, as you may have noticed, is definitely a gardener style house with this beautiful garden in the back and lots of different flowers. Definitely kept the landscaping pretty similar just because I just love this style of just having an explosion of flowers. So I find it fun to build that way. So it's what I did. But that means these 2 houses are very similar, but I think it's kind of interesting and was very fun for me to see the way that I build in the same house, but trying to make it look different, especially because I was trying to have the styles be somewhat similar. Yeah, just kind of interesting to see the 2 differences between these houses and all the little things that I went for, and things that I changed up on the second build. So yeah, definitely let me know. It won't hurt my feelings or anything which house you prefer. It's so interesting. I have to say, for me, the yellow house I prefer a little more because yellow is my favorite color. And I think it's just a little bit more my personal style. But you'll see a little later how that all turns out. Just kind of a funny behind the scenes thing of doing builds for The Sims. Sometimes you run into these technical issues, and I'm still learning so much along the way. So it's a pretty basic thing I ran into. And if I would have just checked it, I would have been fine. But anyways, everything worked out in the end, and I still get to share this build with you, which I'm really excited to do. So the last thing I wanted to do on this house was just add in some wisteria, again, to bring in, this is a gardener's house. I think they would let it get out of control with flowers, so I thought that would be perfect. And then adding in the trellis on the back from high school years. I thought the back just needed a little extra something. And of course, again, a gardener, I think, would have a trellis on their house. I just think that makes sense. And so I wanted to make sure to add in the flower arranging table. If that is something you would want to do in this build, it would be very easy to grow a lot of flowers. So yeah, hopefully you kind of get a sense of what sim you would have living here and all the gameplay you could do with them. But now we're moving on to the interior, and for the interior, I really wanted to go with sort of a modern, but actually I'll say like this house was purchased and updated by like a young couple or something like that. So it's definitely more modern on the inside, but still has some of that like charm to it. And hopefully, I don't really know if Queen Anne has like a furnishing style, but hopefully gives like kind of that vibe that the exterior of the house gives. So like using the rug from Paranormal just kind of gives it a little bit of a vintage flair. Yeah, so I really love how this came together, and I definitely used some similar colors. I used a lot of pink, lots of greens and blues, and just pastels in general. I've just been loving building with pastels recently, lots of color. It seemed like for a while there I was doing a lot of cottage type builds, and now it seems like I've kind of moved on to doing lots of pastel style builds. And I'm just having a lot of fun doing it. It's really, really fun to use all different kinds of color. And I feel like now at this point in the game, we really do have quite a few good options for making more modern, like kind of poppy sort of style houses. And obviously pastel pop really helped that. But stuff like Paranormal, High School Years really has added in a lot. And then even we have quite a few things in base game that I think really work nicely for doing builds like this. So this is another area in the kitchen where I wanted it to have a little bit of like charm to it. So I went ahead and used the cabinets and countertops from Cottage Living, and I just think they look so cute in here. I really liked the addition, and I felt like this wall needed a little something extra, so I was just looking through the catalog, but went with the tried and true, like hanging dried like herb piece from Laundry Day. It always works so well in a kitchen. It's hard to pick anything else. But on this wall, I wanted to do something a little different from cabinets, so I went with the shelf from Paranormal, and I really, really like it there. I think it fills in that wall so nicely, and this shelf is just so beautiful. I love being able to use it in any build I'm able to. And I was able to use the new mugs. I am obsessed with the new mugs. I think they're so great. We've needed them for so long in game. I just hope that they'll give us glassware soon. I think that's the one last thing that's really missing. And then with this little extra table, I went ahead, or countertop, I went ahead and just added the tea machine. I thought that would be nice there. And there's just enough room under the stairs to fit in a desk. So of course I wanted to make that a functional space because A, there was just a lot of empty room there. And B, you kind of need a desk in The Sims for gameplay. So yeah, I love this little area, and this desk, I believe it's from High School Years, is probably my favorite in the game. I think it has such a good mix between like a functional looking desk, but still leans a little bit modern. And also the swatches are really great in it. So anyways, just loving that desk. So we're moving on to the upper floor. And I wanted, again, to do a little bookshelf moment. Like reading nook area. I just think that this calls out for it. And it's just a perfect little addition. And also, if you have a bookworm, this would be a perfect house for a bookworm sim. And so I just cluttered that up with a few different items. And then, of course, threw in a little chair for your Sims to sit on. And I really, really love how it turned out. And I did, for this whole build, use the Desert Luxe curtains. I just love them. They're so, so good. Easily my favorite curtains in the game. And I just feel like they work really well with these kind of pastel soft builds. They add just such a softness to the room. I went with a Dream Home Decorator bed, and I really love how it blends in with this build and looks, but that actually means we're coming to the end of the build. So I want to thank you so much for watching and joining me here today, seeing a very similar but different build to what I did on Wednesday. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day, great rest of your week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.